Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again. We're picking up with Pinocchio. We're on chapter 16. The beautiful blue-haired child saves the puppet. She puts him in bed and calls 3 doctors to know whether he is alive or dead. While poor Pinocchio hung on a branch of the big oak tree, seemed more dead than alive, the beautiful child with blue hair looked out of the window again. She felt very sorry for the unfortunate puppet, who, hanging by his neck, was dancing to the music of the cold north wind. She clapped her hands 3 times, faintly. At this signal there was a rustling as of flapping wings, and a large falcon flew to the window-sill. "What are your orders, beautiful fairy?" asked the falcon, lowering his beak in reverence, for you must know that the child with blue hair was no other than a good-hearted fairy who lived in that wood for more than 1,000 years. "Do you see that puppet hanging on a branch of the big oak?" "I see him." "Very well. Fly there quickly, break the knot that holds him with your strong beak, and lay him gently on the grass at the foot of the tree." The falcon flew away, and in 2 minutes he returned, saying, "I obeyed your order." "How did you find him?" "He seemed to be dead, but he cannot be quite dead, for as soon as I loosened the running noose that strangled his neck, he murmured, 'Now I feel better.'" The fairy clapped her hands twice, and a magnificent poodle appeared, walking upright on his hind legs, as if he were a man. The poodle was dressed like a coachman in his Sunday best. He had a 3-cornered hat trimmed with gold, a white curly wig which reached his shoulders, a chocolate-colored waistcoat with diamond buttons, and 2 large pockets for the bones his mistress gave him at dinner, a pair of breeches of crimson velvet, silk stockings, low boots, and a kind of umbrella case made of blue satin to put his tail in when it was raining. "Be quick, Medoro," said the fairy. Get out my finest carriage from my coach-house, and drive to the wood. When you come to the big oak, you will find a poor puppet lying, half dead, on the grass. Take him up gently, put him on the cushions, and bring him to me. Do you understand?" The poodle, to show that he understood, wagged the blue satin case he carried behind 3 or 4 times, and off he ran. In a few minutes a beautiful carriage was driven out of the coach-house. It was the color of fresh air, and the cushions were padded with canary feathers, and lined with whipped cream and custard, with sweet biscuits. It was drawn by 100 pairs of white mice, and the poodle sitting on the box cracked his whip like a driver afraid of being late. In less than 1/4 of an hour the carriage was back again. The fairy, who was waiting at the door, took the poor puppet in her arms, carried him to a little room whose walls were mother of pearl, and sent at once for the most famous doctors in the neighborhood. The doctors came in a hurry, one after another. They were a crow, an owl, and a talking cricket. "Gentlemen, I should like you to tell me," said the fairy, as the doctors stood around Pinocchio's bed. "I should like you gentlemen to tell me if this unfortunate puppet is dead or alive." The crow came forward first and felt Pinocchio's pulse, as he felt his nose and finally his little toe. Having examined them carefully, he solemnly declared, "It is my opinion that this puppet is quite dead, but if, unfortunately, he is not dead, then that would be a sure sign that he is still alive." "I regret very much," said the owl, "to contradict the crow, my illustrious friend and colleague, but according to my opinion this puppet is still alive, but if, unfortunately, he is not alive, then that would be a sign that he is really dead." "And have you nothing to say?" inquired the fairy, turning to the talking cricket. I think that when a prudent physician does not know what to say, the wisest thing he can do is to remain silent. For the rest, this puppet's face is not new to me. I have seen him before. Pinocchio, who until that moment had seemed as lifeless as a real piece of wood, started to shudder, shaking the whole bed. That puppet there, concluded the talking circle. Excuse me. That puppet there, continued the talking cricket, is a perfect rogue. Pinocchio opened his eyes, but closed them again quickly. He is a rogue, a good-for-nothing, a vagabond. Pinocchio hid his face beneath the sheet. That puppet is a disobedient son who will make his poor old father die of a broken heart. Just then a smothered, sobbing, crying could be heard in the room. Imagine everybody's surprise when, lifting up the sheet a little, they saw that Pinocchio was crying. When a dead boy weeps, it's a sign that he is on the way to recovery, said the crow solemnly. I am sorry to contradict my illustrious friend and colleague, said the owl, but according to my opinion, the sign indicates that he does not want to die. Chapter 17. Pinocchio eats the sugar, but won't take the medicine. However, when he sees the gravediggers coming to carry him away, he takes it. Then he tells a lie, and his nose grows longer as punishment. As soon as the three doctors had left the room, the fairy came to Pinocchio. She touched his forehead with her hand and felt that he had a dangerous fever. Thereupon she dissolved some white powder in half a glass of water, and holding it to his lips, said lovingly, "Drink this, and in a few days you will be better." Pinocchio looked at the glass, made a sour face, and asked in a complaining voice, "Is it sweet or bitter?" "It is bitter, but it will do you good." "If it's bitter, I won't drink it." "Listen to me and drink it." "I don't like anything bitter." "If you drink it, I shall give you a lump of sugar to take the taste out of your mouth." "Where is the lump of sugar?" "Here it is," said the fairy, taking one out of a golden sugar basin. "First I want the lump of sugar, and then I'll drink the horrid bitter water." "You promise to drink it?" "Yes." The fairy gave him the sugar, and Pinocchio crushed and swallowed it in a second, saying as he licked his lips, "It would be fine if sugar were medicine. I'd take it every day." "Now keep your promise and drink these few drops of water. That will bring back your health." Pinocchio took the glass in his hand unwillingly. He brought it to his nose and held it to his lips, then again to his nose, and at last he said, "It's too bitter. It's too bitter. I can't drink it." "How can you tell when you haven't even tasted it?" "Oh, I know it is. I know it from its smell. Give me another lump of sugar, and then I'll drink it." So the fairy, with all the patience of a good mother, put another lump of sugar in his mouth, and then she offered him the glass again. "I can't drink it like that," said the puppet, making hundreds of grimaces. "Why can't you?" "Because that pillow at my feet annoys me." The fairy removed the pillow. "It's no use. I can't drink it like that either." "What is the matter now?" "The door bothers me. It's half open." The fairy went and shut the door. "The fact is," cried Pinocchio, bursting into tears, "I won't drink that bitter water. No, no, no." "My child, you will be sorry." "I don't care." "You are very ill." "I don't care." "This fever will send you to the other world in a few hours." "I don't care." "Are you not afraid to die?" "Not a bit. I'd rather die than drink that horrid medicine." At that moment the door of the room opened, and 4 rabbits as black as ink came in, carrying a little black coffin on their shoulders. "What do you want of me?" shouted Pinocchio, sitting up in his bed in terror. "We have come to take you away," said the biggest rabbit. To take me away? But I am not dead yet. No, not quite yet, but you have only a few minutes to live, because you refused the medicine that would have made you well. Oh, fairy, kind fairy, cried the puppet, give me the glass at once. Hurry, for heaven's sakes, for I don't want to die. No, I don't want to die. He took the glass in both hands and emptied it at a draught. Ah, well, said the rabbits, this time we have made a journey for nothing. And taking the little coffin on their shoulders, they left the room, murmuring and grumbling between their teeth. A few minutes later, Pinocchio jumped out of bed quite well, for you must know that wooden marionettes have the privilege of being ill very seldom and of getting well very quickly. When the fairy saw him running and rushing about the room as gay and lively as a young rooster, she said, So my medicine really did do you good. I should say so. It brought me back to life. Then for heaven's sakes, why was it so hard to make you drink it? I think because we boys are like that. We fear the medicine more than the sickness. Shame on you. Boys should know that the right medicine, taken in time, might save them from a serious illness, perhaps even from death. Oh, another time I won't make such a fuss. I'll remember those black rabbits with the coffin on their shoulders and take the glass at once, and down it will go. Now come here and tell me how it happened that you fell into the hands of the assassins. It was like this. The showman, Fire Eater, gave me some gold pieces and said, Here, take these to your father. But on the road I met the fox and the cat, two very decent people, and they said, Would you like to change these pieces into 1,000? Yes, into 2,000 gold pieces. Come with us, and we'll take you to the Field of Miracles. So I said, Let's go. And they said, Let's stop at the Red Crab Inn and continue our way after midnight. And when I woke up, they were not there, because they had left already. Then I started after them in the dark, and I couldn't tell you how dark it was. And so I met two assassins in coal sacks, who said to me, Hand over your money. And I said, I haven't any, because I had hidden the 4 gold pieces in my mouth. One of the assassins tried to put his hand in my mouth, and I bit it off. But what I spat out wasn't a hand, but a cat's paw. And the assassins ran after me, and I ran and ran until they caught me, and hung me by the neck in a tree in the woods, saying, We'll come back tomorrow, and then you will be dead, and your mouth will be open, and we'll get the money hidden under your tongue. Where are the 4 gold pieces now? Asked the fairy. I've lost them, answered Pinocchio, but he told a lie, for he had them in his pocket. No sooner had he told this lie than his nose, which was already very long, became 2 inches longer. Where did you lose them? In the woods nearby. And at this second lie, his nose became longer still. If you lost them near here, said the fairy, we can search for them, for everything lost in that wood can easily be found. Oh, now I remember everything, replied the puppet, greatly confused. I didn't lose the money. I swallowed it when I was drinking your medicine. At this third lie, his nose grew so long that poor Pinocchio could not move in any direction. If he turned one way, his nose hit the bed or the window panes. If he turned the other, it struck the walls or the door. If he raised his head a little, there was danger of putting his nose into the fairy's eye. The fairy looked at him and laughed. What are you laughing at? Asked the puppet, much embarrassed and worried about his nose, which was growing to such a size. I am laughing at the lies you have told. How do you know I was telling lies? Lies, my dear boy, can easily be recognized. There are 2 kinds of them, those with short legs and those with long noses. Your kind have long noses. Pinocchio wanted to hide his face for shame. He tried to run out of the room, but he could not, for his nose was so long that he could not go through the door. That's the end of chapter 17. I will see you guys here tomorrow. Bye.